Tensions are brewing on day 2 of the UN General Assembly here in New York City. President Trump expected to address the assembly this morning.
And protesters are threatening to block routes to the UN, preventing his motorcade from getting through. Pix 11's Kalarama joining us live in Midtown with the very latest on conditions out there. Kala, good morning.
Hey, good morning to you. As President Trump prepares to leave Trump Tower along with his detail, you can see a number of people gathered here outside the New York Public Library. They tell me that they plan to march down 42nd Street, not only to disrupt traffic, but to send President Trump a message. We would get a closer look, but we're not going to because of some of the signs. Some of them just have oligarchy with an X through it. Some of them say reject Trump. Some of them say some of them have some vulgar language on them, so we're going to avoid showing you those. But the White House has said that President Trump, who's about to address the United Nations General Assembly, is going to tout the renewal of American strength around the world in his efforts to help end several wars, including the war in Ukraine, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict as well. President Trump has been clear in the past about not supporting a Palestinian state. However, his European counterparts do. Monday, a handful of world leaders at the United Nations agreed it's time to give Palestine recognition as their own state. Israel does not agree. The president was asked about this on Air Force One. Listen.
Is there still a possibility in your mind that there could be a diplomatic solution to this conflict?
I hope so. I'd like to see a diplomatic solution. There's a lot of anger and a lot of hatred, you know that. And there has been for a lot of years. This is not something new, but hopefully we'll get something new. We're studying Gaza and dealing with Gaza very strongly. That's a real mess.
So as I mentioned, the goal for these protesters outside the New York Public Library is to see the motorcade and send a message, possibly even block traffic. There's only about 100 protesters here gathered in front of the library. Some of them are dressed in red. This is supposed to be a protest about free speech and standing up for all of our liberties in America, but with also a nod to the show South Park, which has previously mocked the president, where people were dressed in red to represent Satan there. And this is their goal, to do that satire here as well. The audience before the United Nations, obviously much greater than those of the protest. The world is watching what President Trump has to say. After he speaks today, Tuesday morning, this evening, he'll be hosting a reception here in New York for about 100 world leaders before heading back to Washington, D.C. But back here live in front of the New York Public Library, we're waiting to see what these protesters do, if they'll in fact block 42nd Street as they planned or march down to the UN, as some of them have told me that their plan is to do that. There are a number of police officers here lining Fifth Avenue to make sure things remain safe.